Proceed. I note that the usher is not here. Can you bring the witness in? Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Njai. Welcome back.
Thank you, Council.
Did you have a good lunch?
Yes, Council. I had a good lunch.
Glad to hear that. I will just remind you that you're still under oath. Do you understand that?
Yes, Council.
And the same warning applies. It is an offense to lie to the commission or to mislead the commission. Do you understand?
Yes, Council. I understand.
So before the break, you told us about the events that occurred at Fajara Barracks. And just before the break, you told us that it was the early hours of the morning, and the detainees who were in the truck were asked to alight from the truck, and you were all gathered around the football field. Is that correct?
Yes, Council. Good afternoon. Like I said, when the detainees were asked to alight from the truck, then Sana Sabali asked them to be in single line towards the football field, and whilst we follow them to the football field.
Can you tell us what happened?
Then, upon arriving at the football field, they were asked to line up in a straight line facing the sergeant line accommodation area. Then Sana asked them to, Sana Sabali. When I say Sana Sabali, I mean the former vice chairman, Sana Sabali.
Just to be clear, sorry, they were lined up, you said, facing the residential area?
Council.
Were they on the football field itself?
Exactly, on the football field.
And how were they positioned?
They were in a straight line like this.
Like an extended line?
Extended line.
And please continue, what happened?
Then they were facing the sergeant line residential area. Then Sana asked them to say their last prayer.
At that point, where was your group? How were you positioned in relation to the detainees?
We were facing them directly. We were facing the captives directly.
How would you describe your line? Were you also in extended line, or did you stand in a different formation?
Exactly, Council. We were in extended line, facing them.
So your group was in extended line, facing the detainees who were also in an extended line?
Council.
And then you said Sana Sabali spoke to them?
And Sana spoke to them that they should say their last prayer. And then in that, he gave them a couple of minutes, call it couple of seconds.
Did any of them say anything during that time, any of the detainees?
Not to my knowledge, Council. Then after, when they said their last prayer, when he gave them those couple of seconds, when they were done, then he started shooting indirectly, very close to them.
Who started shooting?
Sana Sabali.
When you say he was shooting, where exactly was he shooting?
He was shooting at those detainees who were lined up facing us. Indirectly, not directly.
What do you mean by indirectly?
When I say indirectly, like where I am now here, at the table here, then shooting at where you are, but not directly, just very close to the table there, downwards.
So shooting at the floor.
At the floor, exactly.
What was the distance between Sanasabali and the detainees?
It was like where I am now to where you are, not less than 50 meters.
And you were in an extended line, presumably also 50 meters away from the detainees.
I particularly was on the right side of Sana. I was on the right side of the Sana, just behind him on the right side.
Was Sana positioned in the middle of that extended line or towards the end of the extended line?
Well, he was slightly on the right, like the extreme right, facing them.
So Sanasabali shot on the floor. Do you know how many rounds he shot?
This was, the way he was shooting at was sporadic. It was, you call it automatic. A lot of rounds were being shot from him.
How long did that shooting take place?
Yeah, when he was doing that, it does for like, I can't exactly tell, but this shooting was on for some time.
Apart from Sanasabali, did anyone else shoot at the detainees at that time?
Sorry, Council. As soon as we arrived, when they were lined up, then Sana started shooting, talking to them. He was saying something I could not remember actually. Then whilst he was shooting, then, because the way he was shooting at, you can realize that he was not controlling the muzzle of his rifle. So as a result, during that shooting, a round strike at Dotfal. Then Dotfal fell down. So the other guy was just on his right side, that is Kurbali, the late Kurbali, was at the ordnance, was trying to help Dotfal. When he fell, immediately fell down, then Sana Sabali shouted at him that he should leave him. He said, leave him. Then Kurbali left Dotfal on the ground. Then, all of a sudden, the rest of the captives fell down and started screaming. They started shouting and screaming.
Up to that point, you told us that Sanasabali was shooting. My question is, was anyone else shooting apart from Sanasabali?
He was the one I saw, because I was directly behind him. He was the one I saw at that time.
And in fact, in your statement, you say that you don't remember anyone else shooting apart from Sanasabali. Is that correct?
Correct, Council.
So your testimony is that you were all in an extended line, and the only person you saw shooting was Sanasabali.
At that time.
As a result of that shooting, you said that Dotfal fell down.
A round struck at him on the legs, then he fell down.
So let's focus on the other members of that extended line. You mentioned Sanasabali, and you said you were next to Sanasabali.
On his right.
Who else do you recall standing in that extended line at Fajara Barracks?
Yeah, that is what I could not actually, because when this shooting was on, all of a sudden, these people started screaming. They fell down as a result. Then
my question is, who was standing on the extended line from your group? You mentioned Sanasabali, you mentioned yourself. Who else was on that extended line?
The Odlis were there.
Can you give us their names again?
DCP Mendy was there. And or at least to Yankuba and Edward also were there. Churo, Mustafa, Suso, I always forget the first name.
So let me give you the names that you gave us before, and you can tell me if those people were standing on the extended line at Fajara Barracks. You mentioned Alfuseni Suso. Was he on the extended line?
He was there.
Lamarana Barry. Ensa Mendy. JCB Mendy. Mustafa Toure, Churo. Jali Musa Sow. As in yes.
Yes, Council.
Sambaba.
Sambaba, Council.
You mentioned, from your group, you mentioned Zakaria Dabo. Was he on that extended line?
Zakaria, I could not actually remember him being there.
Okay. So you already mentioned JCB Mendy. What about Baba Ainjai? Was he standing on that extended line?
Yes, Council.
Let's talk about, you mentioned a Marong, nicknamed King Kong.
King Kong.
Was he standing on that extended line?
Council.
I already asked you if Lamin, his name was Lamin Marong. You said you don't really recall, but for sure the nickname is King Kong. Is that correct? So let's talk about the more senior members who were also standing on that extended line. You mentioned Sanasabali, of course. What about Edward Sinyate? Was he standing on that extended line?
Edward was there.
What about Peter Sinyate?
Yankuba, Peter, they were all there.
Yankuba was there. What about Sadibu Haidara?
They were all there.
Was there any other senior member of the military present?
Like I said in my initial statement in the morning, like Babukar Jatta was there on the ground because he was the one who recognized Messenger. Oh, you are here. He said to him, yes, sir.
So Babukar Njai was also standing on the extended, Babukar Jatta, former army commander, was also standing on the extended line.
Council.
Do you recall any other senior members of the army apart from the ones
only
I've mentioned?
Senior officer at that time as a army commander that I can remember, apart from the council members.
Okay. So you've already told us Babukar Jatta was also on the extended line, correct?
Council.
As in correct, meaning yes?
Yes, Council.
He was on the line. Okay, so according to your testimony, all those people were standing on the extended line, but only Sanasabali shot his weapon.
He was the one I saw because I was right behind him. Then when he started shooting, like I said, until a round strike at Dot Fall on the legs, then he fell down. Kurbali was trying to help him. Then Sana shouted at Kurbali to stop it. Then, he leave him. Then Sana continued shooting, still indirectly, not directly. Then all of a sudden they all fell down and started shouting, screaming, whilst others were trying to escape. In fact, others escaped through the training school area, and there was one person whom I could not remember up to now, also went through the sergeant line area and then to the back door that leads to Bakau Health Center. Then when he was moving, Sana saw him and he said to me and the late Tumbul Tamba that we should get him. Then that was the time we leave them there and run after this guy. But it's like before he gave us those instructions to get him, this man, you can see him going at a full speed. You can see him going. He has already left meters before we were asked to go. So we went, but we couldn't find him.
So your testimony is that from when Sana Sabali started shooting up until the time where some of the detainees tried to escape, the only person shooting at that time was Sana Sabali, correct?
Because the interval was short from when he started shooting until the time we were asked to go for that guy who was trying to escape. That's how we went and left them there.
So would it surprise you to learn that the commission has received testimony from various witnesses saying that everybody who stood on that extended line was shooting?
If that was the case, Council, I don't think the number of casualties which was stated that was the number of casualties on that particular day would have been that. It would have been more than that. Looking at the effectiveness of the AK-47 while we were less than 50 meters away from those captives, if we were in extended line and we were asked to shoot at them, I think the number was, I think nobody was going to survive it. We were all going to get them down.
I'm interested in what you could see at that time. So your testimony is that nobody shot from that extended line, correct? So even though we've received testimony to the contrary, saying that other people were shooting, your testimony is that only Sanasabali was shooting, correct?
Only Sanasabali I saw shooting. Up to the time I was there.
Well, we've heard testimonies from the victim side, meaning Abdoulaye J. Dabo, as well as Mafoji Sonko, who said that the soldiers on that extended line were shooting at them.
If we were shooting at them, then they would not have been here today and testify. I think they were all going to be killed. But that was not the case. We were standing like I was standing watching right behind Sana whilst he was talking and then at the same time indirectly shooting on the floor. But if we were asked by Sana, like giving the order that we should shoot at those people who are less than 50 meters away from where we were standing, I don't think Abdoulaye J. Dabo would have been here today to explain this.
Well, let's hear the testimonies of other members of your group. Can we play the video of Mr. Ensa Mendy?
For a couple of some hours, Sana paraded some of the captured soldiers at the football field. Then he ordered us to shoot at them.
And what happened?
We responded, shoot.
All of you shot at the captured soldiers?
Yes, sir.
And what was the consequence of that shooting?
What I observed was 2 soldiers has fallen down.
And what happened to the rest?
The rest, we are running the except.
After that shooting, what happened?
After the shooting,
perhaps let me take you a step backwards.
okay, sir.
You said all of you responded to Sana's command and you fired at the captured soldiers,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. By all of you, you mean everybody that was present respected the order?
So, Mr. Njai, you've listened to Ensa Mendy's testimony. Ensa Mendy was a member of your group who stood on the extended line, as you have testified to. What do you say to his version of what happened?
I say, Council, no to that. The fact that if we were ordered by Sana to shoot, nobody was going to survive it. Looking at the effectiveness of the AK-47, whilst we were standing less than 50 meters away from those people, if we were ordered to shoot, everybody was going to be gone down. But at the end of the order, only 2 people were down.
You only told us about one person, Dotfal.
Now he said 2.
Indeed, but you only told us about one person.
Yeah, I said for the one that I saw was 1. As a result, a round was struck at Dotfal and he fell down on the legs.
So your testimony is that only one person fell down at that?
Up to the time I was there.
Why do you think that Ensa Mendy would accept responsibility for shooting, knowing that that would implicate him? Because we couldn't tell whose shot actually killed the 2 people that went down, or injured the people that went down.
Sorry, Council. Okay, like I said, that for me particularly, I didn't spend much time. That when these detainees or these captives fell down, the other one went or ran. Then Sana asked me with Tumble to go after him. Then that was the time we left. We still leave them there, and you can see you can hear the gunshots whilst we were going for this guy. So it could be when we left, that was the time the order was given, because as far as I can remember, the time that I spent there was too short until when they fell down and some of them started trying to escape. Sana asked me to go and tumble to get this guy. That was the time we extracted and then went for them. It could be when the time we left, that was the time the order was given. And as far as I know, we were the only two who went to pursue this guy who was running. So it could be the rest or the remaining orderlies who were standing there were the one that they were asked to shoot. So as a result, ANSA would think that it was all of us who were there, not knowing that I personally was not there at a point in time. So the only thing that he could have said, he would say is that they were ordered to shoot, but not knowing that I personally was not there at that particular time.
So your suggestion is that perhaps that order was given after you left to chase the soldier, and so you were not there when an order was given to shoot at the soldiers.
Counsel.
So you're removing yourself from accepting any responsibility for shooting the soldiers on that extended line?
Not actually, Counsel. Like, I know that I left because I was asked by Sana to go after this guy. So I know for certain that it's unfortunate that the guy that I went with, Tumul, is late now. Otherwise, he would have been in a better position to explain more. But I knew that I left on a particular point.
Well, let's address that point. Can we play the video of JCB Mendy in relation to the shooting at Fajara Barracks?
What distance?
No, I cannot judge the distance at that time.
Can you show us by indication somewhere around here or outside?
No, it's with like from here to you and maybe a little bit distance to you.
At this wall,
Yeah,
or the next wall?
Around, no, this wall.
This wall?
Yeah, around that.
Say around 10, 12 meters.
Could be.
So how many people? Only these three or more than these three?
No, I saw these three. I saw these three.
We know you said you saw these three.
Yes.
You identified these three.
Yes.
Were there more than these three, or these are the only three you can remember to have been present?
These are the three that I can remember to be present.
Were there other people there you could not recall?
No, I cannot recall that whether there
You
are
don't know whether there were more than three people or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
And exactly where did this happen?
At the entrance of Fajara Barracks, at the main gate, towards the field.
Was it at the field or near the anteroom?
It's between it's between, I think, the anteroom and the wall towards the field.
Okay. And so tell us what happened afterwards. You are there, these people are in front of you, yes. 12 meters in front of you. And then Sana gave the order.
Yes.
What happened when Sana gave the order?
He gave the order for them to be fired, to be killed.
By who?
By everybody who was there.
And what happened after he gave the order?
And the shooting started.
And who did the shooting?
Me, I am a part and parcel of them who did the shooting.
Mr. Witness, I'm happy that you changed your story. When we met you all these days, you denied having ever participated in that.
In shooting?
Yes.
No, then it's an oversight on me. But this one, I am a part and parcel of who shoot.
Even in your statement here, You said, at this time, I was at the back with then Army Commander Babukar Jata, and I did not participate in shootings. So I'm happy that you
I'm sorry with that statement. I'm sorry with that statement.
well, the thing is, you just changed your mind. You calculated, you reflected, you changed your mind. It's okay to change your mind. Just tell the truth. That's the most important thing.
I am sorry for that. It's not a matter of being changing my mind. That is the time I just recalled when I sit there going over the minutes and all those things. Then I recall that I am part and parcel of the people who shoot. I have to tell you the truth.
Yes, we
Yes.
appreciate that you have
And
to
thank
tell
you.
the truth. It is just my responsibility also to remind you
That I
that
said
throughout our meetings with you, you had denied participation.
Yeah. No.
Yes, until today, you are willing now to accept that you participated.
Yes, on the shooting.
And that is your testimony, you participated.
Yes.
And after this shooting, what happened?
After the shooting, Barrow and Dotfall lose their life there.
How did you know that?
Yeah, because they were lying there. And
how about the third person,
that
Sajaka?
person run, followed by 1 or 2 soldiers, I think. Who followed them was Tumbul Tamba and Babukan Jai, but could not trace him. When they come back and give that.
And by Babukar Njai, you mean Jai Ponkal?
Jai Ponkal, yes.
And afterwards, what happened?
And
His testimony. Even JCB admitted to firing on that extended line, which then led to the killings of Basiru Barrow and Dotfal. You also heard from his testimony that it was after the order was given, the shootings occurred, that you were then instructed to chase after Sajaka. What do you say to that?
No, ma. Maybe he mixtuate the time I was being ordered by Sana to go and the time that the shooting took place. If I was there up to the time that these 2 gentlemen were being shot at, I was going to say that I was there. But as far as my memory can serve me well, what I can fully remember at that time was when Dotfal have been shot at by Sana
You
on the
told
legs.
us that. What I'm trying to understand is you're the only person who said that Sana Sabali is the only one who shot on that extended line. All the
Initially.
other witnesses said Sana ordered them to shoot, and everybody on that extended line shot at the detainees. But you are trying to take yourself out of that and remove yourself from responsibility. Isn't that the case?
No, Counsel. Like I said, when they were lined up initially, when we just arrived at the field and they were lined up, it was Sana who started the shooting. Like I said, until at a point, just a very short notice, when these people fell down, then the other one escaped. So it was there that he asked me to go with Tumbul. Then that was the time I extracted myself and then went after this guy. But up to the time I was going, I have not seen Dotfal and Barrow being shot at, or I didn't receive any order that led to the shooting of Dotfal and Basiru.
I think now you're confusing matters a bit. You mentioned that, according to your testimony, you said it was Sana that was shooting and Dotfal fell down.
Initially.
Yes. So you cannot now tell us that you don't know about any shooting that led to Dotfal.
No, I said Dotfal and Barrow. They are consequent.
But no one said that an order was given to shoot at Barrow and Dotfal. The testimonies are consistent, and they say that Sana Sabali gave the order to shoot, meaning to shoot at the people on the extended line. and everybody shot
That's
at
why-
the detainees.
Counsel. That's why I said if we were ordered to shoot, then these people would, the casualty number would have been more than what has been said.
Well, we've heard from experienced soldiers who said that you were indeed ordered to shoot, and they told us that only 2 people fell down as a result of the shooting. So we've heard from experienced soldiers who told us exactly what happened, and that 2 soldiers fell down and were injured. Should we believe you, or should we believe JCB Mendy and Ensa Mendy?
No, as far as my memory can serve me, like I said, the shooting of Dodd Fall happened in my presence. In fact, he was not shot to death, but he was shot on the legs. But the subsequent shooting of Barrow was not in my presence. That was the time, before it happens, was the time I left. So
what
it
I'm
could
trying
be-
to understand is why would JCB Mendy and Ensa Mendy accept responsibility for those shootings if, in fact, that is not what happened?
No, that's what I'm saying, Counsel. Like, it is possible, because it is possible that when I left was the time that the order was given. But as far as I was there, up to the time I was going, there was no order that was given from Sana that we should shoot.
But you heard the testimony. Ensa Mendy and JCB Mendy are consistent in saying that the order from Sana was that everybody should shoot. Then you heard JCB Mendy saying after the shootings, and Dotfal and Basiru Barrow fell down, then a 3rd soldier was trying to run away, and at that time you were ordered to run after the soldier. So you were present, according to those testimonies, when the order to shoot occurred and when the shooting in fact occurred. All of you shot.
I didn't shoot, Counsel. If I shoot, I was going to say I shoot. There is no doubt about that, because I will not be here and trying to, extract myself from that responsibility. All what I remember was I was being asked by Sana to go after this guy. So it is possible that when it is because
We've already addressed that point. Based on the testimony, that is not possible. The testimony is clear that the shooting occurred while you were present, and then you were asked to chase after Sajakal. We can leave it at that and move on to the next issue. That's your testimony, you didn't shoot. Is that correct?
it's correct, Counsel.
Very well. So after you were ordered to chase after one of the detainees, according to JCB Mendy, that was Jackal, can you tell us what happened next?
Then we went for him, we pursued him. Unfortunately, we could not see him, neither. And then we followed the route from just after the back gate, Fajara Barracks. We went, when immediately you came out from that door, that gate, you have the road going towards Amadou Samba's residence and the other one towards Newtown, and the one that you're directly facing towards the Bakau Health Center. So we took the one going to Bakau Health Center up to the MRC fence, and then we took right, then go up, then take the main Fajara highway leading to Fajara MRC main gate towards the former President Jawara's residence, just at the edge of the MRC fence on your left. That's where we branch. In the end, we were walking. In fact, we didn't even see the guy that we were going for. So we were walking together with Tumbul. Then when we took the bend left towards Cocktail from MRC fence, then Tumbul said to me that I should convey him to his house. At that time, he was living at Cocktail, I think where soldiers reside, behind MRC.
So did you eventually end up at Yundum Barracks, or?
Okay, I'm coming. Then when we took that road, Tumbul said to me that I should convey him to his house. Then we went, climbed up, he was living upstairs, then opened his door, his house door, then he entered. Whilst he was inside, he asked me whether I want to drink. I said to him yes. He took out a bottle of cold water, gave it to me, then I drank after returning it back to him. After a couple of minutes, he came out, closed his house door, and then we went back to Fajara. Then we took the same route that we came. Upon arriving, we met with a soldier just in between the sergeant line area. Then this soldier told us that the council members have left. That was the time we made a U-turn and then came back from where the route that we came from towards Newtown Highway to look for transport to catch them at Yundum. Then on our way to Newtown, the second to last junction right, that's where we bend, then go straight again, bend left, then we met with a soldier. You know, this was a gendarme officer, I don't know. It's a gendarme officer. He was wearing this gendarme camouflage, red camouflage. So we met with him, he was coming, so we stopped him and then asked him where is he going. He said, he told us his name, but I forgot the name. Then he said he was on course in Turkey, so he's reporting to work. So we told him whether he didn't know, what's going on. He said no. Then we told him this is what is going on, and we don't think it's safe for you to go to the camp right now. So he also made a U-turn, and we went together. As we were going, he asked us, where are you going? He said to him, we are going to Yundum. We came with the council members, but they left us behind. So we are now looking for transport to catch them at Yundum. So he said, would you mind me to take you to my home so that I have a car there so that I can drive you to Yundum? He said, why not? Because then we told him why not, because then there was no transport and the vehicles were not moving at the time of the morning. So I remember we took Marina School, the second bend after MRC Junction. That's where we came, and then crossed over the road, the Newtown Highway, to the other side. I could not fully remember the residential area of where this guy was living. So when we went...
Sorry to interrupt you, but so you met this soldier, and he's the one who offered to take you to Yundum Barracks, is that correct?
Correct, Council.
So from the time that you left Fajara Barracks to run after the detainee, who we believe is Sajakal, up until the time you arrived at Yundum, how much time had passed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we went to his compound, he asked us to wait at the gate. He entered through the door, and they opened the main gate, then up to bring out the car, park, and then this is more than 1 hour, approximately 1 hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours.
So do you recall around what time you arrived at Yundum Barracks?
We arrived at Yundum like after 10 o'clock, yes.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived at Yundum Barracks?
Then when this guy drove us to Yundum, then he parked the car at the main gate. Then I alighted from the vehicle towards the camp. As I reached at the guard room area, I met with Marong. He was an orderly to Edward Singate. Marong.
Is it the Marong that we referred to, nicknamed King Kong? Okay, continue. Please continue.
Okay. Then, when I approached him, I had him saying, to other soldiers that, because he was from that direction, from the anteroom direction, I had him saying to soldiers that that file is not completely, we call it, it's not dead. His body is still shaking. So then I was just coming in. I said to him, where is he? He said, he's in the truck there. This was also out of curiosity. I just went straight, and then as soon as you take the bend at the anteroom, because when you are around the guard room, you can't see the truck. But as soon as you bend, you see the truck parked just opposite the anteroom. So when I took the bend, and then I saw the truck parked, so just step my right foot on the wheel of the truck and then peep in. Then you can see Dotfal's body on top of the rest of the bodies. still shaking like this. Then I immediately came down and went back to the the general area of the guard room.
Apart from Dutfal's body, did you see any other bodies in the truck at that time?
Counsel, I saw a lot of bodies.
Can you give us an approximation of how
More
many
than
bodies?
5 bodies.
Could you tell if they were dead or alive?
Actually, that was what I didn't observe because I didn't make that long peeping. I just looked and then came down. So I saw body lying down in the truck, but was not clear because I was not able to make that confirmation as to whether some of them were dead or alive. But you can see bodies lying. But for that false body, you can easily see it up there, and the body was just doing like this.
So if I understand correctly, you saw Dutfal's body and 4 other bodies in the truck. Is that correct?
Correct, Counsel.
What happened next?
Then I came down and went back to the general area of the guard room. Yet still, I didn't see I didn't see Sana, to whom I was with. I didn't see him. He left me. I didn't see any trace that will show me that he is at that particular place. So I came. I didn't neither ask anyone as to where, because you hardly see soldiers. The camp was virtually quiet. You know, soldiers were scattered, and you can't see anyone to ask, and which I didn't even try to ask. So I went back to the guard room area where I was coming from, and then when you stand at the guard room, you can see to the direction of the flagpole leading to the anteroom and the main gate. And then also on your left, you can see up to the company line there at the primary school fence. So that was where I positioned myself. Now, the reason why I was there is to observe, to see where these guys are, because I didn't ask anyone. So all of a sudden, when I came back, as I was standing, I saw the driver, Sana Sabali's driver, Lamin Drame, coming from CO's office end, you know, with the Nissan Patrol. Then I said to myself, oh, that's the truck. So, that's the vehicle. So I started moving towards the Nissan Patrol because he was trying to park just beside the flagpole. Then, before I reached the truck, the vehicle, I saw Sana and the council members, Sana Sabali, Yankuba Ture, Edward Singate, Sadibu, coming from the anteroom, just the bend of the anteroom, towards the general area of the flagpole. So when the Sana's vehicle parked, then I went straight to the vehicle, then Sana came and joined, then that's what time we went home.
Did you witness any killings or torture at Yundum Barracks that morning?
No, ma. No, ma.
Do you know a man by the name of Fafanyang?
Fafanyang was my instructor at Farafenye when I was a recruit, was one of my instructors at Farafenye when I was a recruit.
Did you see him that morning at Yundum Barracks?
I last to see Fafanyang immediately after our passing out parade. That was the time I last to see him.
What about Basiru Kamara? Did you see him at Yundum Barracks that morning?
Basiru Kamara, right now, if you mention his name, it may be difficult to know him. I don't know him much. Maybe if I see the picture, then, but like saying the name verbally like this is because then I was very young in the job. I don't know most of these old conkers who have served long. So maybe if I see his picture, then I would say yes if I knew him.
Do you know what happened to him?
Basiru Kamara.
Yes.
Up to the time I came to Yundum from Fajara, because these guys left me behind, I didn't hear anything or see anything. Because when I came, like I said, I was standing, observing, until when I saw the Nissan Patrol coming, trying to park around the flagpole, and then I approached, then saw the council members also coming from the anteroom, then we joined and left home. So I don't see any abnormality there when I arrived.
What about EMCC? Did you see him that morning at Yundum Barracks?
No, ma. No, council.
Do you know what happened to EMCC?
I heard it later that EMCC was also executed at Yundum. At Yundum, around the cookhouse. And Fafanyang. Fafanyang also, I heard soldiers saying that Fafanyang was being arrested at the Bahamas, because I even never know that Fafanyang was even residing at the Bahamas, because immediately after our passing out, Fafanyang, I last to see him. I don't know whether he returned back to Farafenyo, but that's because Fafanyang was not in Yundum when I was deployed. Immediately after the passing out, when I was deployed to Yundum, Fafanyang was not there. It was EMCC, whom I know, was there because EMCC was attached to Sir Major Silos, the CSM, the company sergeant major.
So when did you receive the information that Fafanyang and EMCC had been killed at Yundum?
At Yundum was the time I arrived.
Upon your arrival
Exactly.
that morning?
Mm-hmm. I heard it that he was being arrested at his Bahamas residence, EMCC, Fafanyang. Then he was brought to Singate at, according to what?
Which Singate?
It was Singate at the anteroom. Just this, what I heard at the time was that Edward was standing at the anteroom. Then this man was brought in from Bahamas, and Singate shot him there immediately, opposite the anteroom. That's how I heard the story at that time.
You said upon your arrival at Yundum Barracks, you didn't speak to anyone, and you tried to locate Sana Sabali and the other council members. At which point did you receive this information about how Fafanyang and EMCC were killed?
That was the time I was standing around the guard room, the general area of the guard room. That was the time I heard it.
You told us that you saw the vehicle, Sana Sabali's vehicle. You told us the name of the driver. Lamin Drame. You said thereafter you all got into the vehicle and you left. Around what time was this?
This was like after 12 to 1 in the afternoon.
So you left with Sana Sabali and who else?
We left with Sana Sabali and Sadi Buhaidara, Yankuba Toure, all the council members with their orderlies.
And where did you go next?
From there, I remember we went to State House. We went to State House, and upon arriving at State House, then I opened the door to Sana. He came down, alighted from his vehicle. Then we met Yaya Jammeh, just the same place that we met him when we were going. Then he came and started shaking hands with the council members and started embracing them. He even embraced me. Yes.
What did he say anything?
For me, he didn't tell me anything. And maybe he could have spoken to the council members, but I have not heard him say anything. All what was being said, well done, job well done, something like that.
So you were celebrating the end of that operation?
Council.
Where soldiers were killed, members of your armed force. Is that correct?
Correct, Council.
What happened after that?
And after, when we left from State House, we went straight to Fajara residence. Then upon arriving at the residence, like that, the waiting area, then I opened the door for Sana to come down from his vehicle. Then as soon as he came down, I saluted him and banged the door of the vehicle. Then I was, my hand was gripped because like I told you, when I fell down in the drainage at in Fajara, then before the early hours of the morning, I realized that my right hand gets swollen. As a result, I creped it, and when we arrived at the residence, Sana said to me, as soon as I banged the door, I saluted him. He stopped and said to me, Njai, you can go home and take a rest. Then I returned back the compliment, and he went up, and I went to my house. Then I changed dress to mufti or civil clothes, and I went home.
Around what time was this?
This was after 1 to 2 in the afternoon. This was late afternoon. Then I went home. I was at home from that morning, the rest of Friday, going down to Saturday. I went back to the Fajara's residence Sunday evening, like after 8 to 9 o'clock in the evening was the time I left for Fajara. And then whilst I was at my home in the evening, coming down from Bambo End towards Stafidin, I heard it in the news on Focus on Africa, that where Sana Sabali was giving a speech that there was a coup plot, something like that, and there was a shootout, and during this shootout, some soldiers happened to lose their lives. So when I heard this, I just made a stop and listened to his speech. Then when he finished, I proceeded.
What did you think of that speech?
No, it was not. The speech was misleading.
In what sense?
Sorry, Council.
How was it misleading?
That there was he said there were soldiers who wanted to overthrow, and as a result there was shootout, and during this shootout some soldiers happened to lose their lives. Because as far as I know, the only place that the shootout occurred was at Fajara Barracks. And at Fajara Barracks, there was no casualty. There was nobody who has been shot at. Because in the exchange of fire, I have not seen any casualty. So how comes that, there were some soldiers who lose their lives during the shootout? So this is what doubts me. So automatically, it clearly indicates that the speech was incorrect.
Do you know what happened to other soldiers, such as Jibril Say?
Jibril Say, like I said, when I came from weekend, I call it weekend because I was at home from Friday, Saturday, Sunday evening that I went back. Then when I arrived at the Fajara's residence, the former vice chairman's residence, upon arriving, I opened our house door and I found JCB Mendy, Zakaria Dabo, and Babanjai inside the house. But the way and manner in which I met them was not normal. Because for JCB, I met him crying. And then with Zakaria and Baba, they were all very quiet. Then I said to myself that this is not normal, because normally that's not the way we used to be. So I can't remember actually what was I talking with Baba Njai, until he was the one who disclosed to me to say that those Kupis were the one that were executed. I said, what? He said, yes, they were executed. And then he said to me that even Jibril Say, before he was finally being executed, he sent him to his family that he owed someone money, which Babanjai should relay the message to his family that they should pay the money for him. So this is what he told me. Then he said again that when Jibril was already been executed, and then they were being buried, Jibril, because he is tall, Jibril's legs could not fit into the hole or to the grave. Then as a result, Alaji Connie break his legs so that he can fit in. He said to me that, like he was not happy with the actions of Alaji Connie in the way he was explaining it to me, that he did a very cruel and bad action there by breaking the legs of Detention.
So from what Babanjai told you, he was present at the forest when that occurred. Is that correct?
The way he explained is like he was there. Because that was how I came to know exactly what has happened in my absence.
Did he tell you who executed the soldiers at the forest?
No, mainly he didn't. He didn't give names, but I can remember him telling me clearly the actions that Connie did.
Would it surprise you to know that Babanjai claims that he was not at the forest?
Council?
Would it surprise you to know that Babanjai claims that he was not at the forest?
Yeah, it could be, because it could be true, or he could be true, but because I was not there. But so far, like you asked me, the question you asked me, whether I know anything about Detention. So the execution of Detention and the rest of those who were executed, how I came to know it was through him. So I wouldn't say that it would be a surprise to me to say that he was not there. But so far as the information is concerned, it was from him that I got it.
And you already stated that based on what he told you, he was present at the forest. You've already stated that, correct?
Like, to my understanding.
Is that a yes?
Yes, Council.
Would it surprise you to also hear that people who were at the forest placed you at the forest at the time of the execution?
It would be a surprise, the fact that I was an orderly to Sanasabali, and then if such incidents is to happen, those who did not know actually my whereabouts at that point in time would say that. But as far as I am concerned, I know that I was not there. The fact that I sustained injury, based on that I was permitted by Sana himself that I should go home. So it would be a surprise, because those who are going to say I was there may not know my whereabouts at that time. So because all what they will think is, yes, he was an orderly to him, he would have been there. So the answer is yes, he was there. When in the actual sense, I was not there, because I know that day where I was. And when I came, like I said, the only time I knew about what has happened was the information I got from Baba. So automatically, if I was not there, I would not have been able to make up all these informations that I have given you, to say this is what happened and this was what was said.
You were known as Njai Punkal at the time, correct?
At what time?
People refer to you as Njai Punkal, correct?
Like I said, this Njai Punkal has surfaced, you know.
What I want to understand is, at that time, were you someone that people could recognize because there was something distinctive about you? Said Dabo, for instance, has described you as tough.
Huh?
As tough, meaning someone who was hefty, essentially. So that's how your name came about. People could recognize you based on Njai Punkal. Even if someone else gave you the name, people could identify you because you stood out.
No, Council. Like I said, this Njai Punkal was not a name that soldiers called me for. This was a name that was has been called by an individual. That was Alaji Connie, because I was in the same company with him at that time. So because I used to do heavyweight lifting and I was very active in sports, I think that was the reason why he called me that name. But it was not a common name. It was not a name that soldiers do call me. Like I said, I heard of this name, or the first time I saw the name was on Facebook. We've heard
you. You've explained that. I'd like to play a video Can we play the video of Said Dabo's testimony? You can listen to what he has to say and then respond.
So tell us about how they left the barracks to the range.
Yeah, by the time they tied them and put them in the Land Rover, from there they took off. Sana was leading, followed by Edward Singate, Yankubo Ture, Sadibu Haidara. Then the victims escorted to the range.
Who escorted them?
That on top of the Land Rover, I saw at that time Sergeant Alaji Kanyi sitting at the back of the Land Rover, gun pointing them. Buba Jammeh was the one sitting in front of the Land Rover. The driver, I don't remember.
Let's clarify the issue of this Buba Jammeh. You mentioned a Lieutenant Buba Jammeh.
No, this is not Lieutenant Buba Jammeh. This is Buba Jammeh, Kanil, known as Kanilai.
So you had Lieutenant Buba Jammeh,
yes,
who was also arrested.
Thank you, sir.
And in the Land Rover.
Yes,
and
sir.
You also have Buba Jammeh Kanilai, who also escorted
the guys,
okay,
these soldiers, to the range.
Do you know whether any older soldiers went with them?
These were the guys in that Land Rover, but there were a lot of soldiers, like Sana's escort, Sadibu Haidara's escort, Edward Singate's escort. They were all there too with them. They all went to the range.
Do you remember those who were escorts for Sana Sabali?
Yeah, I remember Njai. I remember JCB Mendy.
Njai who?
Njai. I don't know whether it's Babukar Njai or not, but it's Njai, tough, black.
Do you recall his nickname, if he had one?
Yeah, he have one nickname, but I forget, sir. I forget. But Njai, yeah, I know him in passing.
Can you describe him?
Yeah, he's a tall black boy, and he's fit. Yeah, tall and fit. Njai Ponkal.
Is that the name? Is that the nickname?
Yeah, class. Yeah, he's my class, the same batch with me. We train together.
And they call him according to you?
Njai Ponkal, he is big, you know, Njai.
So okay, we have now Njai Ponkal. Who else?
You have JCB Mendy.
JCB Mendy.
You have one boy, Churo Ture.
Did you hear Said Dabo's testimony about the people who left to go to the forest?
I heard it, Council.
What do you have to say to that, that you were present?
That's not true. Said Dabo's testimony, I can swear that it is not true. I can swear to the Holy Quran that it is not true. Like I said, the day that these people have been taken, I was not at the residence at all, at the Fajara's residence. I was at home, and what has happened, I don't know, until when I came on Sunday evening, reporting back to the residence for the following day to go for normal duties, was the time that I had that this is what has happened in my absence.
So let's listen to another testimony about your presence at the forest. Can we play the testimony of Mr. Babukar Mboob?
And join the convoy.
We did as he ordered us to do, and we headed towards the gate outside in the highway. At this point, I was thinking that they were taking them to Mile 2 prison. When we were out of the barracks right there on the highway, so I saw the convoy made a right towards Berkama instead of making a left towards Serakunda, where Mile 2 prison is situated. So at this juncture, I was kind of lost in thoughts, and I asked I asked in the vehicle, it was like a general question I threw to Lieutenant Keja Ture and Sergeant George. He said, or even the driver, anybody can answer the question. I asked them, where are we going? But I did not receive answer from neither of them, from none of them. So I sit back and just continue walking, continue listening and watching where we go. So this is the time we keep driving until we get to the forest. We're just about to get out of the forest, approaching Birkama, when the convoy actually made a right turn on the road alongside the forest, going in the forest. So we were going up to a distance of driving like few minutes, I would say. There were a few minutes out there. We drive about 2 miles, I would say. That's when the convoy actually stopped. When it stopped, we all get out, we all get off the vehicle. That's when I first saw Sana Sabali and knew that he was all alone with us in this journey. That's the first time I saw him.
On this particular issue, I would want to read out your statement in paragraph 7 and tell us whether this is correct. The names of the soldiers I can remember present at the forest were all council members and their orderlies except Yaya Jame. That's correct?
Yes, sir. At that point, yes, I saw them.
I read it out again. The names of the soldiers I can remember present at the forest were all the council members and their orderlies except Yaya Jame. Correct?
Well, I don't think in the statement I even mentioned Yaya Jame, but he was definitely excluded. He was not there.
I don't understand that. Could you say that again? The statement says you remember all council members being present except Yaya Jame. Is that correct?
That's what this, that is correct.
Okay, good. So it means to say by that statement that Yankuba Ture was there, Sadibo Haidara was there, Edward Singate was there, and Sana Sabali was there, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. And you went on to say that you were there, Lieutenant Keja Ture was there, Sergeant George Sise, Alaji Kanyi, Lamin Marong, Mustafa Ture, JCB Mendi, Njai Ponkal, and all the drivers, including our own. That's what you said in that paragraph. That is correct.
Thank you very much for that. So, Mr. Njai, another witness has placed you at the forest during the execution of the soldiers. What do you say to that?
It's incorrect. Because this guy that has spoken don't know me by the name Jai Punkal. So what I want to say here is, if I was there, I will say the truth and nothing but the truth that I was there. Because those coming forward.
Please continue.
Those coming forward and saying that they were there, I am not better than them. I was going to be honest to myself to say that I was there, and this is what I did. This is between me and God, because I can't be there and want to run away from responsibility when I knew that I am there.
That is what we're trying to ascertain.
As far as I know, that anything that has to do with execution, I have not witnessed where soldiers are being executed with my eye, neither to participate at where soldiers are being executed. That particular incident or execution at the forest, I was never there. God knows what I am saying. If what I am saying is a lie, may God this evening, may he take my soul.
So say Dabo's testimony is a lie. Babukar Move, you claim, probably doesn't even know you, even though he said you were present. Let's hear the testimony of Alaji Kanyi. Can you play the video from Alaji Kanyi's testimony?
Now I want to establish who was present at that stage. You told us that the captured soldiers were put in an extended line, and they gave their backs to you. Your group, tell us who was there. I understand you did indicate that the council members were there, but give us a list of the people who were present.
Lieutenant Sanabi Sabali, Lieutenant Sadibu Haidara, Lieutenant Edward Singade, Lieutenant Peter Singade, Colonel Babukar Jata, Lamin Fati, LJJ, myself, BNJ, Private BNJ, and Private BNJ Ponkal, JCB Mendy, and Private Suso, who is a gendarmerie. This is what I can remember.
So, Mr. Njai, you've heard Alaji Kanyi's testimony. The person who you say gave you the nickname Jai Punkal says that you were at the forest at the time when soldiers were executed. What do you have to say to that?
That is his testimony, counsel. Like I said, I remain to my words, and I remain consistent as far as my statements are concerned. Like I said, if I was there, I will not lie to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission right now. I was going to say, yes, I was there, because even if I was going to be there, I am not the one who will take myself there. Or if I was going to be there and do anything, then it would have been on orders. It would have been based on orders that I was going to do something. But as far as I know, at that time, I was never at the forest. I don't know how the execution happens, where it happens, who were behind it. Up to the TRRC here was the time I came to know that, oh, this is where it happens. Because at that time, where the execution took place, you hear different places. Some will say Nyambai Forest, some will say Birkama Forest, some will say Kitty Forest. These are the different places that you hear at that time. It was in this TRRC that I came to know that this is where the execution took place. So as far as I am concerned, I have no idea whatsoever about this execution because I was not there. Like I said, I only knew about it when I came home from home to the residence and then learned this from my colleagues, and it was one of them who told me of what has happened. This is how
Indeed, you mentioned BNJ. The difficulty we have is you have been mentioned in a number of incidents. In each incident, you've either minimized your participation or you've extricated yourself from responsibility. That is why when you say one thing and we have 4 or 5 people saying something else, there we are.
That's it, Council. I understood very well. Like I said, those who knew Sana at that time, Sana Sabali, and if you ask who were his orderlies, I think if I'm not the first to be mentioned, I will be the second, because many people knew me. Many people knew me at that time. So the witnesses that have testified, the only thing that they will say is Njai was there, but not knowing that I was not there at that particular time.
We've established that Alaji Kanyi knows who you are. Let's hear from Melba. Can we play Melba's testimony?
You said they returned in the afternoon.
Yes, when they came back in the afternoon.
Did you see them when they returned? I want to know who returned.
Yes, I saw them. The council member, they all came back, including Babu Karjata himself.
You said, quote, council members.
Yes.
They all came back, including Babu Karjata.
Yes.
Unquote. That is
Yes.
exactly what you said.
Yes, yes.
Tell us which council members you saw.
Lieutenant Sana Sabali, Lieutenant Edward Singate, Lieutenant Haidara, and then Yankuba Ture, including Babu Karjata. Yes.
Sorry, you saw all of them?
Yes.
Did you see any other senior military officers present there who were not members of the council?
If there is any, it is Babu Karjata. If there is any, at that point in time, it's Babu Karjata.
He is the only one you can recall?
I can recall, yes, I can remember.
Do you know a person called Peter Singate?
Oh, yeah, sorry. That is all along with his brother.
Could you say that again?
What I'm saying, Peter is always with his brother, Edward Singate. They are always together. Always.
That may be the case, but was he present
Yes,
on
he
this
was
particular
present.
day?
I just forgot to mention his name. He is present. He was present. Yes.
Now let's talk about their entourage, the members of the entourage who were present.
Yeah.
Tell us who?
As I said, Lieutenant Sana Sabali, Lieutenant Edward Singate.
You've mentioned the council members
Okay.
who were present.
Okay.
You said all of them,
Yeah.
and you listed them.
Okay.
Among senior officers, you mentioned one, and you confirmed another.
Yes.
That was
Peter Singate.
Singate
Yes.
and Jata.
Yes.
So now let's talk about their entourage,
Okay.
their orderlies.
All these, JCB Mendy is there, Lamin Marong is there, Bach Samba Jallo is there, Jai Ponkal is there, Diche Babu Karanjai, Ibin Jai, they were all there. And this churro.
Stop the video. So, Mr. Njai, you've heard from Melba. I recall that you were both orderlies for Lieutenant Colonel Odu prior to 1994. He mentioned that you came back with the council members from the forest, and he is someone who knew you as Dicheb as well as Njai Pankal. What do you have to say to his testimony?
I say no, Council. That's not true. That's not the case. Like I said, I remain constant to my statement. I was never at the forest. I was released to go home by Sana Sabali that Friday afternoon, a day after the November 11. Then I was at home from that Friday, Saturday, until Sunday evening was the time I returned back to the residence in preparation for the following day, Monday, to go to work. So it is a surprise to me, definitely it is a surprise to me for all these people to mention my name, that I was there. The fact that, like I said, I was an orderly to Sana Sabali, maybe that is what has taken them to mention my name at that time, at that place. But I still want to urge you to continue your investigation and find out the truth as to whether I was there. The witness's testimony alone is not sufficient enough to say, yes, I was there. But I know that I am not there. And if I was there at that time, why would I lie to the commission? I will never lie. I will say, yes, I was there, and this is what I did, like my colleagues, like they say, that this is what I was there, and this is what I did, because I was not going to do it on my own. Whatever I was going to do at that time will be only on others. So why should I lie? Why should I tell lies before the commission to say I was trying to extract myself from it, that I didn't do it, or I was not there? Why? I can't do that. But the fact that all these people who has testified knew that I was an orderly to Sana. So in one way or the other, that must have been the reason. Maybe they think that I was there. Because the witnesses who were testifying were not physically on the ground. to confirm. They said, they started naming, and I was one of the Sana's oddlies. So it was very obvious.
Mr.
But
Njai,
as far as I am concerned,
the people that we have heard from were either present at the forest themselves, so they've implicated themselves, or they were at Yundum Barracks and saw the truck leaving or coming back. So they were present on the ground, and based on that, they said you were at the forest.
Council, I still, with your kind permission, to try to find this particular incident thoroughly, to make a confirmation of my presence there. But I swear to God, I swear to the Holy Quran, that if I was there, I was going to say it here. Why should I lie? I will never lie. I will never lie. Because being with Sana as an oddly was not at my discretion. It was not something that I did. I was taken there based on whatever, I don't know. So whatever I was going to do, I don't do things on my own. So why should I lie? Why should I lie to say I wasn't there when actually I was there? I was going to say, yes, Council, I was there and this is what I did.
Well,
and
so far
I apologize.
I
will apologize for whatever I may do at that time. But I was not there. I swear to the Holy Quran. I was never there. I swear, I will continue to swear to the Holy Quran that I was never there at any point in time during this execution. I came to know about this execution after when it took place. So these witnesses that have testified to say I was there, God knows, wallahi billahi, God knows whether what they are saying is true or not. God knows, and God knows if I was there, God knows. Wallahi billahi. I will continue to swear, and I will swear. The rest I will leave it with God, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai. We have heard your testimony. The commissioners will take it into account as part of their findings. I want to move on from this incident. I noticed that we are running out of time, Madam Chair. I would crave the indulgence of the commissioners for another 20 minutes just to finish the remaining issues that we have. We will address them very quickly and then end the testimony. Is that fine, Madam Chairperson?
It is okay by us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Njai, I'd like to move on to the issue of the convoys. You were a member of Sana Sabali's entourage, and we have heard evidence that members of the convoy, meaning yourself and other orderlies, were involved in incidents of assault against civilians, as well as damaging the vehicles of civilians who obstructed Sana Sabali's convoy. Can you tell us about your involvement in any of those incidents?
Council, like with regards to the convoy, the obstruction of Sana's convoy, or vehicle obstructing Sana's convoy, was like, I remember there was a day when we were coming from Birkama N up to around Babun Fati, where Sana's convoy was obstructed. Then we went. He didn't say anything until we arrived at the residence. Then he followed us. I mean, he assembled us at the front of his house, then addressed us to say that from today, any vehicle that obstructs his convoy, let the vehicle's tire be burst, be shot at, and that's it. So that was the instructions that he passed to us from the first experience that he had.
So tell us which incidents you were involved in where civilians' vehicles were, either their tires were burst or the civilians were attacked or assaulted.
There was, the one I remember fully was when we were coming from the same Birkama end towards Babun Fati, when a vehicle obstructed the convoy. Then Babanjai, while I was in Sarah's vehicle at the front, I saw him crossing over to the vehicle itself and bust the tires. There was another one which I was not at the lead vehicle, I was at the rear vehicle, which I didn't mention because these things keep on coming, like some of the statements keep on coming after when you give out your initial statement. That one I remember I was at the rear vehicle, then the driver obstructed the convoy, then we went and assaulted the driver by busting the tires.
Did anything happen to the driver?
The vehicle's tires were busted and I slapped him.
My question is, did anything happen to the driver himself?
He was slapped.
By who?
I slapped him.
What else did you do to him?
Only that.
What happened after that?
And we crossed over the road to the other side and then went.
Where was that incident?
This was around the same Babun Fati. I don't know how to call it, that area. From Babun Fati going this way towards Talinding end.
That's one incident. Tell us about other incidents where you were involved.
Involved, no. So far as I can fully remember, these incidents of busting tires did not take long. It was during that under the instruction of Sana, like the period which I witnessed of vehicles tires being busted was not too long. So then it stops.
What about civilians?
Sorry.
I apologize. What about civilians being beaten for obstructing the convoy?
Usually, these tires are are busted with a slap. Yes.
You've only mentioned one incident so far.
No,
do you recall?
I mentioned two.
Two incidents. Do you recall being ordered to go to the Serekunda police station to go and take out a civilian who had obstructed the convoy?
Actually, sometimes these things are very difficult to remember, but I remember going, me and JCB, I don't know with who, to Serekunda police station and asked for this guy, this civilian, and then they handed over us to him. Then we took him to the Fajar's residence, Sarasawa's residence. Then he said that we should deal with him, Sarasabali. Then this guy was put on series of punishments, frog jump, squatting, and bathing.
What, sorry?
Bathing. We bath him. We bath him.
Why?
He was being bathed.
Why?
Council?
Why did you need to give him a bath?
It was under the instruction of Senator Sabali. Sorry.
Did you beat this individual prior to that?
Council?
Did you beat this individual prior to that?
Yes, Council.
Tell us how you beat him.
He was, as he was on the process of doing this frog jump, push-ups, monkey dance, he was being beaten.
By yourself and the other orderlies, correct?
Council.
Can you tell us what you did to him? How did you beat him?
No, actually, it was not like we all beat, like he will be doing the action. Like he will be doing the frog, for example, he will be doing the frog jump, the squatting. Then you have a stick behind him and then give him lashes.
I'm asking about what you did.
Oh, me.
Yes.
I give him lashes.
Using what? The
Stick.
What kind of stick?
I could not remember actually, but I remember using a stick.
Do you recall how many lashes you gave him?
No, ma.
Can you tell us about his condition after he was beaten?
He was wet. He was wet, entirely wet, and
Wet with wet how?
Water.
How did that come about?
It was during the time he was being bathed.
Is that normal for you to give someone a bath?
It's not normal, actually. Like in the army, normally it's part of the punishment. So I think, and then looking at the situation at that time, maybe that is what sees us to say the usual punishment that is inflicted on soldiers. These are some of the punishment that you put on civilians. That was the only thing.
Tell us how you gave him a bath. What did that entail?
Council?
What did it entail, giving him a bath?
Not
How was
enough.
that a punishment? That's what I'm trying to understand.
It was a punishment, yeah.
What did it involve?
Not in my council.
What do you mean by nothing? How did you give him a bath?
Oh, okay. I didn't get you clear. This was the pipe that was fixed on the tap from the other side. This was the pipe that we were using to bath him.
So, Mr. Njai, I note the time, so I will just move on. We understand that you were arrested in 1995, along with Sana Sabali and others. Can you tell us about your arrest and detention?
Council, I was arrested while I was in the office, Sana Sabali's office. Then that morning, that Friday morning, Sana said to me, usually before he enters the office, I will first go in and ensure that the office is clear by inspecting the seat that he used to sit on and check everywhere within the office. Before he comes in, he will be waiting at me at the VIP lawn until when I do my inspection. When I'm done, I will give him a signal, then he comes in. So when that happens, as soon as he took a seat, he said to me that by 10 o'clock, they will be having a meeting, or Jame called them on a meeting at 10 o'clock. So, but he will be waiting for Sadibu Haidara, because usually at that time, Sadibu was at Dobson Street, the former immigration office there, just around Muslim High in those days. So normally, if they have a meeting, Sadibu will come from there, because that was where his office was, to the State House, to Sana's office. Then they join and go upstairs to see Yaya Jammeh. So that was what he told me. Then I said, okay, sir. As he was, before he finished talking, then we heard Sadibu's voice coming. We heard his voice, because the corridor, the way, the nature of the operation of the office is like when you are in the corridor, when you speak, somebody inside the office would be able to hear your voice. So then he said, oh, that's him coming. Sadibu is coming. So he just stood up, and then from where he was sitting inside the office, then he met with Sadibu at the office door. Then that was the time they proceeded up. So he said to me, you can be in the office and wait. I said, yes, sir. So they left. After a couple of minutes, not more than 10 minutes, whilst I was standing, like the way I'm sitting, like the way I'm sitting now, giving my back to the office door, then I saw two soldiers coming who forcefully opened the door, office door, and enter. This was one Tamba, Lieutenant, I think he was a general, I don't know, I think he was a general that time. Is it general or colonel? Tamba, Ansumana Tamba. And one, I don't know, I forgot the name of that soldier. There were two, but I remember Tamba was one of them, Ansumana Tamba. So when I was sitting, giving my bag to the office, these two soldiers came in and rushed to me. That Tamba took his time, but this other guy that he came with was a former gendarme. I don't know him much. So he was the one who grabbed my headgear and removed it from my head. Then I was having a sidearm. This guy said I should give him or surrender my sidearm. I said, no. Why? Why should I do that? Because you met me in the office and you can't just ask me to surrender my sidearm and leave the office like that without knowing what's going on. So you must have to tell me what's going on first. He said, no, they are working on orders. Yet still, Tamba was silenced because Tamba, we knew each other long since, and there is mutual respect between me and him. So Tamba did not rush to me. Tamba still took his time, and he was still watching at this guy talking to me. So then at a point, Tamba intervened to say, Njai, you can just give us your sidearm. I said, no, we are all soldiers, and if something should happen, I should be aware. Knowing it does not mean that I was going to do something, but let me know that this is what is going on. But you can't meet me in the office here and want to disarm me just like that. It is not possible. So he said, no, this is order, Tamba. Now Tamba is speaking. He said, no, this is an order, so just abide by the order. So because there was that
mutual... Did he tell you who had given the order?
They didn't tell me.
Okay.
They didn't tell me. They only said this is an order. Like the second guy, that's what he said. It's an order, but he didn't tell me who ordered them. So then, because of Tamba, when the time he intervened, then I surrendered my sidearms and give it to him. Then I was escorted to the conference room, just from Sana's vice president's office. As soon as you open the door, you are now facing directly to the conference room. So that was where I was marched and locked there. When I enter, immediately I enter, I met a soldier standing with a rifle. With a rifle. Then I was there in the dark. I don't know actually what was going on down. So later I said to myself, let me go down and see what's going on. So I decided to go and then leave this soldier who was trying to secure me there. He didn't tell me anything. So I opened the door, and as I was going down the stairs, I met with Almamo Mane. Then Almamo said, Njai, what are you doing? I said, what? I'm not doing anything. He said, any movement or anything, I will be killed. So he put his pistol on my forehead, and then
take your time, Mr. Njai.
When he put the pistol on my forehead, then he said, whatever I try to do, he is going to kill me. Then it was this Baba Njai, who was with me at that time, just on the stairs, who said to him, no, stop it. Then he hold on to the muzzle of the pistol and tried to bring it down. Then Almamo climbed up, then I went down. So when I went down, upon finishing the stairs, I met with Edward Singate. So Edward said, Njai, you see what Vice have done? I said, what? What Vice have done? I saluted him, he said, Njai, he said in Wolof that, du gis nga lu Vice def? He said in English that, you've seen what Vice did. I said, what did he do? He said, no, we don't want to say.
Who was he referring to when he said Vice?
Sana Sabali, the vice chairman.
Continue.
He was the one he was referring to. So then I said to him, what did he do? He said, no, it's okay, just go and relax there. But we don't want to shed blood. Anybody who wants to do anything otherwise, we will kill. This is what Singate said to me. So, you know, we passed each other, and then he climbed up. Then I went to the guard room at the corridor there, standing. Now I was watching. After a couple of minutes, I saw 2 Nissan Patrol drove through and parked just at the emergency door going to Yajame's office. This is where these 2 Nissan Patrol were parked. Then after some time, I heard soldiers saying that, you know, Sabali and Haidara were arrested at Yajame's office upstairs. So after some time, yes, then I saw the patrol, Nissan patrols moving out of the State House. Then I saw Sana and Sadibu were inside those Nissan patrols. Until after 1 o'clock news, I heard it in the news that whilst I was inside the State House, I heard it in the news that Sana Sabali and Sadibu Haidara were arrested and taken to Mile 2, that they wanted to overthrow Yaya Jammeh while I was in the State House. I was there until around 5 o'clock to 6. Then we were provided with a coaster to take us to our various homes. Then while I was in the State House, I was told that my house has been break and my properties have been taken away by soldiers. Somebody teased me on that information.
Which properties had been taken away?
My belongings, my personal clothes, my shoes, my personal belongings. Because my house was bricked, and as a result, soldiers enter my house and then stole my things.
So you weren't arrested on that same day?
I
when
was
Sana
not arrested.
Sabali
I was not arrested.
With Sadibu Haidara.
And
were you arrested subsequently?
Subsequently.
Can you tell us when you were arrested and
Then
by who?
we were asked to go home by providing us with the coaster. Then we went to the residence, federal residence, take our things. Upon arriving, as soon as I was walking through approaching my house, I saw the door open, which was not normal because when I was going, I closed it. So automatically, like the information that I was passed there or I was given is correct. So when I entered the house, I realized that my room was totally vandalized because the mattress which I used to lie on was upside down. My shoes, my dress, my civilian clothes were all removed. There are clothes that I don't even wear. They were still brand new and hung there. Long sleeves, my trousers, my shoes, my own personal shoe, which I bought from my own money, were all taken away.
So what happened to you?
So then from there, I went home. The ones that I found there was the one that I gathered and went home. I was at home on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning. I reported back to State House, going to work. Then subsequently, it was changed again. Whilst I was inside the State House waiting, because I didn't know what was going on, and nobody told me anything. So whilst I was there standing waiting, Tumbul Tamba, the late Tumbul Tamba, came to me and said that we're supposed to go to the NIA for interrogation. So he took us with the Nissan patrol. He said it is an instruction from Edward Singate. So that's how we went. We were at the NIA. I was there from that morning until the evening time. Then
just a second before you continue. You were taken along with who? Who else was arrested?
The orderlies.
Which other orderlies?
JCB, Mendy, Zakaria Dabo, Babanjai. Mm-hmm.
And while you were at NIA being interrogated, did anything happen to you?
I personally, it took me 2 days before, because they were not satisfied with me. All what they were saying is that I was very close to Sana Sabali, and this attempted coup happened, and then I'm still denying that I am not aware. I told them, no, I am not aware, and I don't think, and I don't think Sana Sabali alone will do the coup d'etat, because when this initial coup d'etat was taking place, it was not only Jammeh who came and took over. It was with the support of the rest of the soldiers. So
Did they do anything to you physically?
physically,
while you were
no.
at the NIA?
Well, all what they did was they said I was stubborn, so they decided to lock me in one of the rooms there for more than 2 hours. Then after, they opened and then took me back where I have a panel of almost 7 of them, the NIA, who were questioning me. So I still maintain my statement. Then yet still they were not happy with me, and then took me back there and locked me psychologically, just for me to change my mind. I said, you know, this is something that I know because I'm speaking between me and God. So if I knew anything relating to that incident, I was going to say it. But as far as I know, Sana have never told me anything with regards to coup d'etat or whatever. So they opened the door again and finally set questions for me that I was going to answer. From number 1 to 100, that they said I should answer all those questions. And all the questions, even if I don't know, they must be answered. This is how I was lucky to answer the questions and give back the paper to them.
So what
Then
happened after
in the
that?
evening, I was taken to mile 2. I was on mile 2. The first day I entered my cell, I was at cell number 1 from the extreme right. Confinement number 1, maximum security. So I was there from that time up to after 1 year. I was the only one singled out that I was going to be taken on court martial. The first day I went to prepare myself. Then the military police commander was there. You call him Professor Juf. So the first day I met with him, he said, he gave me my statement after 1 year ago that I should go over the statement. Then when I went over the statement, yes, I realized that was my statement and the signature was me. So I returned back the statement. He said, are you the one? He said, yes. I told him, yes. Then he said, okay, you can sit down. I was there until after 2 to 3. Then he finally said that I should be returned back to mile 2. So it was there that I was never called until after 2 years. Then I was released unconditional. During this period that I spent at mile 2, my salary was not running. My salary was cut off. Nothing absolutely, though my family used to bring provisions for me, but it was not from my money. I don't know how do they manage to bring provisions, but time to time they do bring provisions for me. But as far as my salary was concerned, I was not benefiting from my salary from that time up to today.
So you were
when I was released, I tried to claim that money, and it was not possible up to today.
So you were at mile 2 for about 2 years.
2 years.
Is that correct?
Counsel.
We've already heard a lot of testimony about the conditions of detention at mile 2, and the commission has visited mile 2. So I want to specifically focus on your time there and whether anything happened to you physically. Were you tortured in any way? Did anything happen to you while you were at mile 2?
I was not tortured. I was not tortured. The only thing that happens was when I was there initially, I was on steady lock for 4 months.
What do you mean by steady lock?
I mean, I was not allowed to go out. You don't know what's the time. You don't know whether it's daybreak or not. You were virtually in the dark.
Solitary confinement?
You were not allowed, solitary confinement, yes. You were not allowed to go out to the toilet. You know, all what you do is in the cells. You have what you call the chamber pot, and if they are bringing food for you, it's like they will just open the door of your cell slightly and then push the basin in and then locked again. So I was in that condition for 4 months, after which they came to know that the information or the allegations that were labeled against us was not true. The prison wardens themselves. Then that was the time they started easing up our condition, allowing us to go out from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, have sun bath, then from 5 o'clock, then we go back in the cells till the following day. This is how we were living there until after 2 years, then we were finally released.
So during that 2-year period, were you ever convicted of a crime?
No, Council.
Did you have access to a lawyer during that 2-year period?
No, Council.
You told us that your family members were able to bring some food for you. Were you able to see members of your family while you were there?
No, Council.
So how did you receive the food?
These provisions, not food actually, these are provisions like biscuits, curry, soap. You know, normally if they bring it, they will give it to the prison officers, address it to my name, and then the prison officers will bring it to me. Then tell me the person who brought it for me. Sometimes not only family members, even friends and loved ones used to bring these things for me at the prisons.
So after 2 years, about 2 years, you were released.
I was released, and then
Were you reinstated in the army?
I was reinstated.
When was that?
I was reinstated. In fact, after the 2 years, I wanted to leave, but then it did not go well with me because I got some disappointment with what I wanted to do. So I decided to continue, because the day we were being released, it was made very clear that anybody who feel like to continue, then you can continue. Otherwise, whatever you feel like, that's it. You can come up immediately and tell the authorities. So it was, and I think we were given about two weeks to rest. So it was during this period that I debated and finally came back. And then I was there, but yet still being monitored, put on the surveillance, and by the same Tumbul Tamba, who was putting me on surveillance. Then I was at Guards Battalion, not promotion, not mission, nothing absolutely that I benefited from after 7 years. You know, which was very difficult for me, because it went to a point where I had soldiers saying that if they were me, they were going to leave the army, because the unfair play that has been inflicted on me was obvious that if they were me, they will not withstand it to continue. So, but like, I keep patience and persevering with all the hardships that I endure. So, because I know however long it may take, it will come to an end. So I was in that until after 7 years that I got my lance corporal rank. Then during this period, I was asked to be transferred to State House, or I was called at the State House on transfer on 3 occasions. But anytime I go with soldiers, not me alone, I am always rejected back to my unit. On what reason, I don't know, up to today.
Mr. Njai, thank you very much for that explanation. I have one last question before I hand over to the commissioners. During the 2 years that you were at Mile 2, can you tell us what impact that had on members of your family?
Yeah, it has a great impact, because I was alleged of an action which I have no idea of whatsoever, and it was definitely difficult to just allege an innocent person, though I was a soldier, but I was not up to something, neither knew anything which was about to happen. So, and just to be arrested like that and put into solitary confinement for 2 consecutive years innocently was definitely hard. And then because of that, you know, my mom could not stay here. She has to go to Senegal and stay there. And then up to the time I came, I could not be able to have that dialogue with her, to see her all for many years. And when she learned of my release, then was the time she came and we met. So virtually it was an impact that has been inflicted on me, because I was subjected to things that was not true.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Mr. Njai. You have told us about how you've participated in violating the rights of others, as well as told us about the fact that your own rights were violated. So I have no further questions. That's the end of the testimony for me. Madam Chairperson, I hand over to you to conclude with the witness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you, Deputy Lead Counsel. I would like to crave the indulgence of the interpreters. I know it has been a long day, but if you just bear with us for the commissioners to ask their questions. But before I give the commissioners the opportunity to ask their questions, I would like to thank the witness first of all for coming to testify, and to tell him that our role here is to establish the truth and to investigate and create an impartial record of the human rights violations and abuses that occurred in the country during the period 22nd July to 1994. 22nd July 1994 to January 2017. In creating that record, we expect witnesses to come here and help us to establish the truth. As it is clearly written there, the truth shall set you free. The Deputy Lead Counsel, before she started, also told you that there are consequences for misleading the Commission. And I'm going to read a portion of our Act, which clearly states, 15C 2A, no 2C, that a person who intentionally provides misleading or false information to the Commission shall be deemed to be in contempt of court. I am not saying that because we have not yet established the fact, but I do want you to bear in mind that there are serious consequences if it is established that you have come here and misled the Commission. Please do not try to give an explanation. We've had your explanation to that effect. You've made it severally, and I now hand over to the commissioners. Commissioners, Bishop, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Chairperson. Mr. Babukar Njai, you have described yourself as a disciplined and obedient soldier, a man of few words. You don't talk much. But your testimony today prove the reverse. However, in the testimony of Mr. Ibrahim Chongan, he said that his hands were handcuffed at his back. And you also said you were given the instruction to drag him. How did you do that?
Thank you, Commissioner. Specifically, for Chongan, I didn't drag him. I said the guy that I dragged, I couldn't remember him, but it was not Chongan that I dragged. And Chongan later knew me when I was also there. And I remember when I was released, he was the first person, or among the first person that I visited at his residence. And when we were together in the prisons, I think within us, those who were at confinement number 1, I was the one that used to go to their wing, that is confinement number 5, for a chat. So apart from me, there was no other guy who used to go there from our wing to go there for a chat, because I realized that they appreciated me in their midst, and I can attest to that for the senior officers at the time who are listening to me now. Up to now, I have that cordial relationship with them. So if I did anything bad to Chongan at that time, I don't think that mutual relationship and respect would have been between us. Because I went to visit him at his family compound on 2 occasions. The first time I went, they said he went to Senegal. The second time I went, I was told that he went to the UK. That was the time I stopped going there. So if there was nothing between us of that kind of relationship, I was not going to be bold enough to go to him for a visit. So particularly Chongan was not the guy that I dragged. I said I could not remember actually the guy that I dragged, but I remember dragging somebody from the cells.
Well, you did not, according to you, you did not remember who you dragged.
Commissioner.
But Mr. Ibrahim Chongan, in his testimony, did call your name and said you are the one who dragged him and you maltreated him, you beat him, you insulted him, and you are now saying that you cannot remember who you actually drag.
Yeah, that's it. That's right, Commissioner. Like I said, it is something that it has taken so long that sometimes you tend to forget because I may not remember all, and then but what I can remember is what I've just said, Commissioner.
If I may just clarify, Mr. Chongan said that Mr. Njai insulted him, but he didn't mention that he actually beat him. Just that minor aspect. But thank you, Bishop.
Commissioner Ka?
Commissioner Ka, I have, my first question is, you said when you were beating that particular individual, you were young, right?
Sorry, can't get you.
You said when you were beating that particular individual, one of the individuals you slapped, I think, you were young. Do you think that's a reasonable excuse for this commission to accept?
No, I just said I was young. I said, I just served 3, and then I served under 3 years, 7 months in the service, and I said it was Satan, and I was seized by the situation at that time, and I didn't even know what caused me to do that action, which I regret up to today.
Maybe I got you wrong, but from what I heard, you said you were 21 years old. But let's move on. The other question is, you said you didn't know Chongan, but you said you would not also participate in torturing somebody or beating somebody who was your superior. How did you know that he was your superior if you didn't know him?
Because I know that the cell, the wing that Chongan was, where all senior officers were there, and like when I say I didn't know Chongan, in like knowing him and him knowing me is what I mean. But the name Chongan, I heard of it since, but like he didn't know me in person. So this is what I mean. But I heard of his name long since to say, this is Chongan. But that knowing each other is what I am saying.
Chongan clearly remembered your name. The last question is, initially, you said the person you dragged, he resisted, but at some point he complied. How long did that take, and what made him change?
No, I said when the council members asked us to remove them from their cells, some of them never wanted to go. As a result, they sit flat on the ground, not lie, but they sit flat on the ground. And then we forcefully take them out. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long.
And, finally, you call yourself a disciplined soldier, but you were once demoted. Does that confirm your discipline or not?
Sorry?
You say you are a disciplined soldier, right? But you were once demoted, right? Does that confirm your discipline or not?
No, the demotion, like I said, has nothing to do with indiscipline because, like I said, my mom was sick, which I was informed on a short notice. And looking at where she was at the time, so, and right now, at the time, I was the only elderly son who can immediately go there and see her condition. So when I was told about my mom's sickness, I couldn't sit because it fell on weekend. So I couldn't sit to say, let me wait. So I have to go immediately to see her with the intention of maybe if I have the chance of coming back, depending on, the situation that I may find her, if I have the opportunity to come back, I will come. Then unfortunately, today things did not go like that. So instead, it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, hoping to come back on Sunday evening, but because of transport problem at that end, I couldn't make it on Sunday because vehicles were limited. The movements of vehicles were limited. So as a result, I have to spend the Sunday there until Monday afternoon, Monday morning was the time I find myself back. So it was this day that when I came, then my senior said, or my CSM said, where was I? I did explain. He said, yes, he understood, but like, I have to be punished. And later, it was made to me that, because he never wanted to leave me like that. He has to punish me because if he leave me like that, then what are his seniors going to say? So he has no choice that he has to punish me, which he said he understood my point or my problem to him, but I have to do the action. I didn't resist to say I'm not going to do it. So he immediately, it's like, because later I was made to know that they planned to charge me already. It was something that was already pre-planned, that if I come, this was the action that will be taken. Because of, it was difficult for people to know the type of person I am because I always reserve myself, like I said. And I don't involve in that lot of talking or doing things. I always make sure I reserve myself as much as possible because I know the type of person I was. As far as discipline is concerned, nobody can question that up to today. So I never wanted to disagree or whatever, but he said it is something that they have already planned, because if he didn't do take that action against me, meaning that they will say he scared me, he's scared of me. So this is why he decided to charge me, go ahead with the charging. After, when he said or accepted that he understood my problem. So, but with all that, he has to inflict this punishment on me.
Mr. Njai, can you please curtail your answers, because we are really running seriously against time. So please, short answers.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there are a lot of commissioners
yes,
who want to ask. Commissioner Bojang first.
Mr. Njai, Commissioner Bojang. Mr. Njai, your name has been mentioned here by several witnesses, especially Said Dabo, who said you were a class. Do you think that Said Dabo will mistakenly identify you among the lots?
Whether I think Said Dabo will mistakenly identify me?
Yes, because Said Dabo said, yes, because Said Dabo said he saw you.
Yeah,
but you said you were not there. So I said, because hence you are class, do you think that he will mistakenly identify you among the lot? Misidentify you among the lot?
Like I said, Commissioner, like we are class, yes. But him mentioning my name does not mean that what he said is what has happened. That's why I said, if the investigation continues, I will definitely appreciate it to confirm my presence at the forest at that time, because he has said his idea. He has said what he thinks is what is true. But I said that as far as that forest action is concerned, I was never there. He has the right, and I respect his opinion. As
Thank
to say,
you. Manima, do you have a follow-up?
So do you agree that he was your class?
He's my class. We trained together.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kinte?
Yeah, I will make supplementary to the two commissioners who have just talked. 1995, the excuse you give has undermined your truthfulness. Because the excuse you give your officers for not making telephone calls in Kuntaur, telephone calls were difficult in Kuntaur, is not true. I'm living witness. I was in Kuntaur as an agricultural officer. There were more than 20 telephones in Kuntaur that could be accessed freely. There were telecenters, a good number of them. So that was no excuse.
No,
excuse me. Then that told us if you can lie to your officers those days, then you are not credible, in my opinion, here. One. Two, remember your size makes you prominent. That's why you are referred to as Ponkal. You are hefty and not short, so you can be easily recognized in a group. And these are people who are so used to you that they cannot be mistaking you with people. That one also, I cannot be convinced that you are truthful. Let me come to my own questions. You said you later knew Chongan in the prison when you yourself were in prison. But when Horaja was asking you, counsel, whether you know the person they had put the gun, in whose mouth they have put the gun in, you said you didn't know. After a while, this is the guy you said you are so used to, you in fact made him compromise with a good number of the orderlies and other one, except between him and Sana. So if Horaja asked you, that needed a straight answer. It was Chongan that they put the gun in his mouth and not beat about the bush for all the while you did.
Commissioner, let me come to that.
Yes.
With regards to Chongan, I said it was after when I was also arrested and taken to Mile 2. That was the time I got used to Chongan. But I do heard of the name Chongan before. I do heard of his name.
Okay, hold on. I said when counsel was asking you who pointed the gun in the mouth, you were hesitant. For that one, at least you said, eventually you said Yankuba.
Yeah, because I was trying to think exactly who was it, because it's a long time.
Yeah, but the guy in whose mouth they have pointed the gun, you could not say it until she repeatedly, cross-examine you to have come to the answer.
Yeah, counsel, it was not like I didn't want to say it. I was still thinking the actual person to whom the gun was put into his mouth. So that was the only reason. But I didn't do it for any other thing, But I was not very sure who the guy was, who did the action.
Okay, can you make them short? I have got you.
And who the guy was.
Yes. Only 4 people were dragged. And excuse me, among them, you said it's not Chongan in whose mouth they have pointed the gun. No, so that leaves us with 3 people.
Sorry?
4 people were dragged, according to various testimonies.
Okay, I don't know how many people were dragged. I don't know.
But you saw them line up. You could not still count that small number?
No,
because you said they were lined up against the wall.
They were lined up, but the situation at that time, Commissioner, you will not be there to count.
No, if there are many. Only
many.
3 people, 4 people, you cannot say I cannot count. At least you can be wrong by 1. I think they are between 4 and 5.
No, Commissioner, this is the mind.
That's okay, fine. Let's go. Let's move ahead still. At the Indum barracks, I remember you said for curiosity you went towards the guys who were beating Barrow. And then you knew Barrow was so seriously beaten. He could not even, in fact, he was almost fainted. Right? If you can see all that, the words may not be visual, so I will not take you for that. But if you can recognize or be able to know this situation, his situation, typically, I cannot understand why orderlies that you are used to, colleagues of yours who you used to go on, in convoys and entourage, whatever, you could not identify any one of them that was involved in the torturing.
No, I said...
That's ridiculous.
No, Commissioner, you didn't hear me well. I said, these are not orderlies who were doing this action. Because we met soldiers in the camp. So the whole episode was not only orderlies. Soldiers were in the camp. So I wouldn't know exactly who and who, because these were a lot of soldiers in the camp at the time, and it was at night. So it was difficult to know who was who and who did what. But the whole thing was not mainly to say orderlies and the close protection. It was not that. Because you have a lot of soldiers there. So it was difficult to know.
Yeah.
And coming down to the one that you're talking about when my mom was sick, I said then when I went, I didn't have the access to make call to back to my unit to tell them as to my situation. I didn't say there was no telephone available. I said I didn't have access to make call to my unit to explain to them about my situation.
Okay,
Because the Sunday
excuse me.
The Sunday
Anytime,
that I
excuse
supposed
me,
to come.
excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Anytime, we can't argue.
No, we are not arguing.
We have heard your version, so you'll be listening. And please, we told you, the chairperson has told you that time is against us.
Yes, Council.
So make sure you use time prudently, and it benefits us. If you have taken me back there, anytime they replay it, you said, your officer said, why didn't you make telephone call? And you replied that telephone was difficult to access in Kuntaur. That was your version.
Yes, Council.
Look, excuse me.
I didn't have access.
No, fine. Let's stop there for that one. What I'm saying is, you said all the orderlies were scattered except you. And you did not rule out the probability that some of them may be among the midst of the torturers. You said it earlier. Now I'm saying, with all the time you have spent on them and so used to them, you could not identify any one of them so closely, but yet you can detect that Barrow was so seriously beaten until he could not walk, fainted and so on.
Yeah, I said it. I said this was at night, and recognition was very difficult. But for Barrow was alone, so recognizing Barrow was not difficult. And then soldiers who were surrounding Barrow, to recognize them was not easy. Because I didn't spend that time there to identify one after the other as who is who and who did what.
I've got you. My last point is, there are a series of coincidences that you enjoyed that may worry someone for your truthfulness. It was a coincidence that you could not go ahead because you had to hide somewhere. A coincidence that you had to fall in a gutter, in a drainage, and so on. Number of coincidences. Coincidence that when you were asked to go and look for, get this guy, Sajakal, you could not see him. You had to go to a room that's idling to drink and come back. But my worry is, Sana did not even ask you where you were until they left you behind. And excuse me, and when you came, most people said the period that the operation in the forest took place was between midday and 3 p.m. What you are impressing us is that
which
by
operation?
The day they went to the forest to kill the people, the soldiers.
Okay.
But what you are telling us is that by 12 midday you were back in State House with Sana and the team. Can you help me? Let me understand.
From Yundum.
Yes.
The afternoon of November 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was just an estimated time, because then I could not tell exactly, what was the time at that time, but it was just a rough estimation which I made to say after 11 to 12.
Okay, hold on a bit. You remember you left Fajara 10 a.m. and someone was giving you lift.
No, I don't know what time.
No, you said around 10 a.m.
Left Fajara to where?
With Tumbulu and the friend who was giving you lift to Yundum.
No,
so supposedly you would have been in Yundum by 11. Not more than an hour, because that's your own transport. You are not hustling for transport, right? So definitely you mean you had stayed from 11 to 3 o'clock and you did not know what was happening, and you went back with Sana to State House, but the time you could not tell properly, and you have mistaken 12 o'clock as 3 o'clock as 12 o'clock.
No, I said we left Pipe, this is not Fajara, it was around Pipe, Newtown, you know, with this guy that gave us the lift to Yundum. So the actual time was, what I remember is after 10 to 11, you know. But the actual time, definitely, Commissioner, I could not tell, because I was not there to look at the time and memorize it for this day. So, but I remember it was after 10 to 11.
When did you say you found JCB Mendy crying, and the other guy so worried because of the killing?
This was the Sunday that I went back from weekend. I went back to the residence.
Commissioner
Thank
Kinte,
you.
the other commissioners have questions to ask. So we give the other commissioners a chance. Commissioner Samba.
Yes, Commissioner Samba. Mr. Njai Ponkal. Sorry to say Njai Ponkal because I'm used to the name Njai Ponkal. I wanted to ask you, the time you were saying that the convoy of Sana, you were using, you don't want people to obstruct the convoy. Is it a law or the law of the Gambia that any vehicle that has stand in front of the convoy should be sued?
No, it was not me who gave those orders. This was Sana Sabali. He said he don't want vehicles to obstruct his convoy. The reason why he said it was best known to him. So I wouldn't be there to, or I may not be in a better position to answer to those questions, because the decision was not from me, or the order was not from me. It was from Sana Sabali, who said that he don't want vehicles to obstruct his convoy. So the reason why he said it, I wouldn't tell.
So Sana was the one who made his own decision there. Okay, the second question is, these people who were killed, after the killing of these soldiers, you people were jubilating.
Which soldiers?
The soldiers you took to the forest.
I was not at the forest.
You were not at the forest?
I was not at the forest, so I wouldn't know exactly.
I thought that you said that you are the same batch with Connie.
No, I'm not in the same. Connie senior me.
Connie senior you. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Commissioner Jallo.
Commissioner Jallo, witness. You said when you people returned to State House on a particular exercise, Yaya Jammeh shook the hands of all the council members and shook your hand and embraced you and said, thank you for a job well done. What was this job?
No, I didn't say he said thank you for the job well done. I said he embraced us, he embraced the council members and including me. But I didn't speak to Yaya Jammeh.
Said he hugged you and said thank you for a job well done. Not you alone, but everybody was in that particular situation.
No, I didn't. You said, I said, he said job well done.
Yeah.
Me.
I'm not talking about you. I said, he said, Yaya said, thank you for a job well done. What was this job?
Anyway, I didn't hear him saying a job well done, as far as I could remember, but he may say it to other people, but for me, I remember him embracing me, but like saying job well done, it's possible he said it, but not to my knowledge.
Imam Si.
Babakar Njai. Civil bi ngeen jëlee woon ngeen yóbbu ko kër Sana moom lu mu defoon bi ngeen tooyaloon noonu bi ngeen ko doon dóor.
The civilian that you took to Sana Sabali's house, what was his offense?
Civil bi ngeen jëlee woon ci kaso bi ngeen yóbbu ko kër Sana ngeen tooyal ko foofu de ko dóor civil bi lim defoon.
The civilian you took from the prisons and
Sana waxuñu lu mu def. si station bi lañ ko jëlee.
waaw yóbbu ko kër Sana. waaw moom lu mu defoon moom civil bi.
xamuñ lu mu defoon. xamuñ lu mu defoon ñun dañ ñu santoon rek. pour ñu dem jëli ko indi ko biñ ko jëlee indi ko. ñu indi ko ci Sana ne ko mu ngi nii. waaye comme pour mu wax ñu ne lii lañ defoon waxuñu ko.
ñaareel bi li nga bañ ni fekkeewuloo ko.
Secondly,
Moylan.
ma ne ñaareel bi li nga bañ nii fekkeewuloo ko ba nga waat ci alquran bi.
Moylan rey bi.
waaw rey bi.
waaw
wax nga fi billahi nga ne demuloo.
waaw.
su fekkente ne léegi lii dem topp nañ ko ba mu am.
waaw.
war nga kafaara sa kii bi sa waat bi.
waaw.
da nga koy kafaara da nga koy oor ñetti fan.
waaw.
su fekkente ne lijjanti nañ ko ba mu am.
waaw.
na nga xam ne dangay waat dangay kafaara sa waat bi nga waat. parce que wax nga fi billahi wallahi fekkeewuloo ko.
waaw. soo gis
moom lu ma la koy digal.
yaa imaam jërëjëf kontaan naa ci sa kàddu boobu li ma bëgg a wax foofu mooy rek su doon li ma def la du ma si doon waat ndax xam naa waat nu mel surtout ma waatuloo ci dara gannaaw yore alxuraan di ci waat ci loo xam ne fen lay doon waaye su doon def naa du ma doon waat sax damay wax ne waaw maa ko def ndax jamono yooyu sax même su doon damaa def man du ma jógal suma bopp rek di def ci suma coobari bakken waaye dafay nekk na rek dañ lay ne defal nga def waaye ndegem nag defuma loolu moo ma joxoon sañ-sañ bi ba ma waat ndax xam naa yàlla xam na ndax nit ku nekk rek lu nekk sa xol yàlla moo la ko gën a xam kon ndegem loolu la man du ma war a mën a def dara ma taxaw ci kilifa yu toll yéen wala commission bu toll ni mbii may bañ ne def naa lii xam naa rey nit dafa métti waaw pour nga def ko ci jamono yoo xam ne nii yaakaaruloo woon ne bés ni ki tey dina jot ba bés ni ki tey jot ba pare ñu war laa laaj nga war a tontu xam naa loolu lu métti la waaye nag li ma xam daal mooy wala boog li ma mun a wax mooy lépp loo xam ne jotee na ak rey man dama ne fekkeew ma ko bokkuma si waaye ndegem man nekkoon naa ordli ca jamono yooyu ku ma xam na ne man ci ordli sana yi laa bokkoon ba tax na buñ la laajee yow seede bi buñ la laajee lu bëree bëri di nga tudda suma tur ndax ñi fi wax yëpp tudda nañ suma tur waaw waaye ñoom dañ wax seen xalaat rek waaye man mi nga xam ne moom lañ tudda man xam naa su ma fa nekkee xam naa su ma fa nekkul xam naa kon du war a tax may ñëw di fen ne nekkuma fa te maa ngi fa woon ba muy war a jar may yore alxuraan kàddu yàlla yi ma cee waat ci lu ma wóor ne loolu du dëgg.
Swear to it. Witness Njai, on my part,
Commissioner,
I'm interested in the sequence of events. On the 9th of the 10th, you went to Yundum camp, according to your testimony. You went by Bahamas. The camp was very quiet. There was no activity. To the extent that when you go to the signal room, the signaler was sleeping. But later when you went to the guard room, there were 10 prisoners in the cell of the guard room. How did these prisoners get into that cell? Who put them there? And when did they put them there? That is my great concern. Because you have said that the camp was quiet, there was no activity.
Thank you, Commissioner. Like when we came from the signal and then went straight to the guard room, we already met those detainees in the cells. We met them there. So who put them there was what I don't know. But I remember when we went to the guard room, Sana asked the duty RP to open the cell and they came out. So, but how they were arrested, I don't know.
Final question on my part is you said you were supposed to provide close security to Sana. So you never left his side. Then, according to your testimony, on one occasion you left him to do a curiosity check on the arrest of Barrow. So you left him uncovered. The second time you left him uncovered, is that the person who you are supposed to safeguard is in a scuffle with another officer, and you run and hide behind the bushes and leave him uncovered? The third one was when you went to hide in the toilet. So what sort of protection were you giving to Sana? These are the questions I want to ask.
Okay, Commissioner. The first one is the one that Sana was on scuffle with Edward. Like, Edward was having a grenade, and we soldiers, we know what a grenade can do. when it drops, when you remove the firing pin and it drops, it's like everybody's going to die. And, you know, these are two, you call it leaders at that time, who have that scuffle amongst themselves. So for me, it was not a threat to say, because they are on that scuffle, then I have to intervene. I would have intervened when it was a foreign body, like somebody different from outside. But these were colleagues. And Singate wanting to do something which Sana said no, so Singate still want to do it. Then Sana jump on him, and knowing fully well that what a grenade can do, this is what I was trying to save my life, because it is said that in as much as you secure the VIP, you know, you have to save your life first. So this was the only thing. But apart from that, I was not running for any other thing. And with regards to when we were going to Fajara Barracks, like I said, you know, as soon as we enter, take right, and just keep on moving, Almamo started shooting in the air. And then, because normally in the military, operations are not done in that way, just to be shooting like rebels, no. So which was unusual for me. Because of that, those gunshots that he started shooting in the air is what makes me too confused. And then I took cover. I just took cover, because normally you call it a battle shot. When a shot has been released, most of the time you do unusual things before you are back with your senses to know exactly what you are supposed to do. So when Almamos gave the first shot, it makes me to be confused that I have to take cover and then think. So during this process was the time I said to myself, oh, if where I am is not safe, it's better to follow them, because somebody can find me here and then just shoot at me, kill me without knowing. So automatically it came in my mind. Now that was the time I run after them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Njai. I think that has brought us to the end of the questions of the commissioners. I apologize most sincerely to the interpreters. I know it has been a long and difficult day. To the video cameramen and the media and our audience, our apologies for making you sit through a long day. Our Deputy Counsel and team, executive and team, my apologies. Do you have something for us for tomorrow, Horoja? Deputy Counsel?
Yes, we do. We're ready to proceed tomorrow morning with the next witness.
Okay,
thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Njai. Kan? Mom jeexal la ngul baax na.